Welcome to Getting Started with the Face Ball. So the face ball comes with these two different size balls. The larger ball actually can be used anywhere in the body. I love to use this. It's a great travel ball, but it was designed to go in the back of your head. So it's really in your occipital area. And then the smaller ball is going to be a handheld ball that we're going to be able to work in the face in different directions to release the muscles, to stimulate the bones, the fascia, and get this incredible release on the face. It's going to make your everything feel more vibrant, lots of blood flow circulation, and it's going to help you relieve conditions like TMJ, sinus pressure, even headache patterns. Sometimes you can nip them in the bud if you grab your ball and roll it out. So let me show you a few things that's going to help you. So we really segment the face starting with the frontal bone. So there's a big area of your head. So you have your frontal bone in the back of your skull, and there's a big common tendon that attaches those two places. So this ball, you'll be lying down, but it's going to be going into the back of the occiput. I always think it's best to sort of just feel for where you want to place the ball. So take your fingers and just go into the back of your skull. So if you feel where your cervical spine is and go to the last little vertebrae that you can palpate, you'll see that there's like a hard ridge there. That's your occipital ridge. And then if you feel above that, there's like a little concave space there. It's really like a horseshoe shape right behind your head. Turn around this way. And so it's really around here. There's the upper cervical. And this ball is going to go right there. Now, the placement of this ball is also important because it's not about jamming your neck. You want this chin to be angled down, but you also don't want it jamming forward because we're trying to keep that natural curve of the neck. So from the side, what that's going to look like is this. You're just going to place that ball there. Get it in that occiput, a little teeny bit in those upper cervicals. And when I just lay here like this, it's like I don't have to jam down, and I'm also not looking up like this. This shortens the spine. So you want that nice connection right there like that. Then you're going to be using this ball to maneuver all through the face. So we're going to be doing the forehead or your frontal bone. We could even do on the sides of the eyes where it's like your crow's feet. We can do around the eyes. We can do through the cheekbones, spreading and widening, which is also part of your chewing apparatus. We're going to be working down the jaw, all down the front of the neck, and this other ball is magically connecting the back of that area and releasing your head and neck all at the same time. So you get this 360-degree release and unwinding of your entire face. Another little thing I want to show you is, so if you want to feel where you're going to be, so we'll talk about the technique of how to roll the ball, but first where we're going to be. So it's very common to start on the frontal bone. And so if you feel right between your eyebrows, I like to get my fingers and just feel where that is. You could feel the bridge of your nose, and then we're going to be rolling like 3 spots up to the hairline. Once you get to the hairline, you can actually glide back because it's all tendon and hair, so the ball easily slides there. What we don't want to do is just rub and pull skin because we're sinking all the way to the bone. This is really important. I'm going to say it again. You don't just slide. You're going to be placing the ball, and depending on the direction that you're going, because sometimes we lift, sometimes we lower, you're going to add that little bit of pressure. You're going to wait and you roll the ball, keeping that momentum to the next point. And then you roll the ball to the last point right at the hairline. And from there, you can glide off. So it's easy to start in the middle just to get used to it. And then we're going to divide the eye area, which you can feel for the bone, but basically you're following your eyebrow. So where the eyebrow covers, that's the edge of the bone. You can take your finger again and feel where the side of the nose is, where that bone is. And we're going to be doing lines from the inner eyebrow up to the hairline. We're going to be doing lines from the middle eyebrow up to the hairline, outer eyebrow up to the hairline. So it's always really easy to find this by just putting your finger where you want to be. And also, if there's a lot of excess skin or tension there, you can lift, put the ball where you want it with very light pressure and sink and lift. Now, we're going to be doing all this with the support of the other ball. We don't do the face ball in a seated position, but I'm showing you these landmarks now so that when we go to the videos, it's going to make more sense. So, same thing. You always want to do both sides. So then you would go to the left side. And you're going to find that inner corner of the eyebrow to the hairline, the middle eyebrow to the hairline middle, outer eyebrow to the outer hairline, and there is your one move. Now we're going to be adding moves up, down, in, out, but again, it's all in this zone here between the eyebrows, the frontal bone, and that hairline. We want to not, if we're in the temples, that's a different bone. So you can feel where that bone ends. So it's really basic. Up, 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 down, down, down. You always end with a lift up again. So it's good to go up, down, up. And then if you want to add diagonal patterns or spreading patterns, some of the routines will add those concepts. But once you know the basics of that, that's going to help you find those other pieces. And then as we move down the face, again, you feel for the side of the nose. Use your fingers. So you got that under orbit of the eye, and there's some delicate tissue here. So we want to find that bone, press and feel that. And when you get to about the high point of your cheekbone, a new bone actually articulates here. So this is your cheek, this is collectively called your cheekbone, but more specifically, it's your maxilla, and then there's a little zygomatic arch, which is part of your temporal bone and involved in chewing. So by spreading these cheekbones, lifting this frontal bone, it's already taking the pressure out of your jaw, which is great. So that's why even a 5-minute routine can help you relax immediately. So when we do this, you're going to be careful to navigate that delicate tissue. We generally pull in. And again, it's the same thing. We're going to be rolling along little by little. You can take your time or you can do 2 or 3. Now, again, when you get to the ear, we can spread on top of that ear because this is just cartilage, and it's actually really good for it because there's lots of tissue that circumnavigates that, like tight tissue. And I even pull my ears sometimes for releases. So we have a couple of routines where we go out like this in a couple spots. Then you're going to want to come under that bone. So if you just put your fingers by your nostrils and lift under like this. Find the bone and lift up. Find the bone and lift up. Find the bone, press up and a little bit out too. It feels good. You're going to see it narrows, and then you're going to be more towards the middle to the lower part of your ear. Again, spread. And then you're going to feel back behind your ear because we don't want to forget those spaces behind the ear and this bone. So not all the routines go that far, but you can do a simple face freshener for like 5 to 7 minutes that just lifts the frontal bone, spreads the cheekbones, and that is wonderful before you're going out for the evening or you have a special photo shoot or you're going out to a wedding or a gathering. It just gives your face a fresh look. Okay, then we're going to move on down to the jaw. And so your jaw is a big flat bone, but your temporomandibular joint is here. So put your finger right here on that zygoma and go down a little bit right in front of the ear. And if you open your jaw and close it, you'll feel where that hinge is, where that joint is. And this can be very unstable on people. This is one of the most unstable joints in the body, and it's very easy to get overuse on one side from either chewing or grinding. The teeth kind of get ground down. So we always want to stabilize this area when we work with the ball. So and again, this is going to be lying down supported, but I'm showing you just in this seated position. So we don't use a lot of pressure when we're practicing this. So we will start here and roll these pieces of the jaw around. It's nice to just start and feel the contour of the bone. This is one of the areas that we will use this other ball as we're supporting here to lift, and it supports our cervical spine. And we lift a little bit of that chin up so we can feed that ball under the bone. We can go halfway out and roll that ball around. We can go to just one side. We're always stabilizing the other side so that it doesn't unhinge. We want to keep the hinge supported so that it's up and down, not side to side. And of course, again, we're going to do both sides around, around, around. And then sometimes it's nice to just get it all centered in the middle. From there, we can revisit this and then connect everything to the collarbone down. There's a muscle that covers the front of the neck called the platysma. I call it the vanity muscle because a lot of us don't like when it starts to sag and you get the loose skin here. So you're going to be learning how to roll down this to connect. And sometimes I will start you down here after doing this, and then we connect the dots because I want you to really take your time to learn this and start with a couple of basic moves and keep adding as you get more comfortable with it. And then those that are really adventurous, I've got videos to explore inside your mouth. This is great if you have temporomandibular joint dysfunction or anything like that. You can, I teach you how to work in your palate, how to work into some of the chewing muscles that are back behind the teeth. And I've simplified it so that it's user friendly. Doesn't always feel so good, but after you do it, when that brings that pain relief, you'll go back and try it again and again. And again, start easy. And so there's lots to explore here, but just the most basic, just lifting the frontal bone, spreading the cheekbones, a little bit of jaw, and you can't believe how great you're going to feel. I've had people not even go inside their mouth and get relief just from doing basic bone stimulation and muscle release with the YBR face. So have fun and let's start rolling. Thank you.